Aló.
Hello, hello, girly pops. My name is Singular Dubs, and welcome back to Aló. Today, we have a guest, the first guest of the pod.
Hello, everyone.
She's Peyton, and I'm just going to let her give her like a little elevator pitch of herself, and so you can meet her.
Yes. Hello, everyone. First off, I am so honored to be here. I'm sure everyone who's listening here has been listening to all of Inglory's pods. They're absolutely amazing. So a couple months ago, I kind of joked to her, like, hey, if you're ever looking for a guest, hit me up. And then she did. And she even followed up, too. Because then I think I was at one point like, oh, like, you know.
She's never going to follow up.
Yeah. Like, I'm not actually going to go on her pod. But yeah, she followed up. And here I am. And I feel so honored to be here today. Thank you so much for having me.
So our drinks of the day. Today I am drinking an iced matcha latte.
And I'm having an orange squeeze Olipop. Bay Area represent.
We love Olipop.
Yes.
Cheers.
No, but I've been getting the absolute princess treatment so far today. So I got here and Inglory had my favorite snacks laid out for me, which, to preface, my favorite snacks are vegan marshmallows and lesser than evil popcorn. Mind you, the most random things ever. And she had them laid out for me, and I was, I'm in a great place, you guys. I'm ready to kick things off.
Yeah, she's like, I'm actually never leaving. I'm moving in.
Yes.
No, I do believe that like to be loved is to be seen, and I'm like, if you don't show your friends appreciation, like princess treatment, who will? Like, we have to take it on our own hands.
Literally.
So first podcast ever. How are you feeling? A little nervy? Are you okay? Are you like getting jitters in your tummy? How are you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like yesterday I was kind of freaking out. I'm like, oh, I'm going on a podcast tomorrow. Like, even a little bit of who do I think I am going on a podcast? Like, who wants to hear me
Imposter
talk?
syndrome.
Total imposter syndrome. But no, I'm so happy to be here today. And we FaceTimed like about, I think, a month ago just to kind of chat about what do we actually want to talk about. And I think that made me feel more excited because I'm like, honestly, we love gabbing anyways, so we might as well just do it here.
Do it, monetize it.
Yeah, but
I'm get some views.
Also, I saw recently, if you're nervous, it just means you're excited. So we're just going to channel that.
Yeah, because if you really didn't care about something, you'd be like,
Literally.
Anyway.
And I love a camera, so.
I feel like you're meant for it. I feel like, honestly, when I first like met you and talked to you, because I had met Grace before. So Grace and Peyton have this club called Creators Club, and it's just for influencers kind of like to network and build community. And why am I introducing this for you?
No,
you should do it.
Girl, you're doing a great job.
But that's how I met Peyton, because I knew Grace and I just met her at this event, and I was like, oh my gosh, she is like the most bubbling personality ever. Like she just highlights the room whenever she walks in. So I was like, maybe she works something with cameras, like news reporter or something, because you just have that vibe.
And no, I work in sales, which I guess like same thing. But no, I actually went on a game show about 2 years ago, and America Says, channel it on the Game Show Network.
I saw that.
I actually went on 2 episodes, and me and my friends had so much fun. And I actually had a couple people tell me, and at this point I wasn't doing social media at all, but I had a couple people like, you are like really comfortable in front of a camera. I'm like, okay.
Today, we haven't even touched on the topic and what we're talking about. We are talking about how to survive your 20s, because I am 26, you are
25, freshly 25.
But we've lived most of them anyways. Like we're in our mid-20s, late 20s. How do we survive it? Because I feel like our 20s are a fucking struggle. I honestly did feel, and I always tell everybody, like I felt my frontal lobe develop. Like I did feel a change from that jump into, oh, I'm immature as fuck, into, oh, I'm an adult. Yeah. Did you feel that?
At what point in your 20s did you feel like that turned on?
You're just 25.
Yeah, I was like, was that day? Oh,
you're like, I'm actually like still a child. No.
At what point in getting to 20?
Literally,
26?
I feel like maybe a couple months into 25, I was like, oh, I'm an adult. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I have been thinking about that a lot recently. I think especially, I'm one of those people, when I was 19, I was turning 20, I wanted to read every single book there was about navigating your 20s, like Defining Decade. I loved all the Eckhart Tolle books, like The Power of Now, New Earth, loved all of his books. And I was just someone that like was trying to listen to all those podcasts about like navigating your 20s, but I feel like, I don't even know if they actually helped. Like, were you into any of that kind of?
No, so I feel like most of my 20s, as you guys may know, because this was my fucking canon event and I talk about it on every single fucking episode.
That's right back.
And so I will, because the amount of therapy I paid to get over my ex will be, paid by this podcast at some point. So no, I just feel like during my 20s, I was married with my ex, insane guy.
Yeah.
Bunch of PTSD. So I feel like I didn't really have a chance to just be in my 20s, because I got married at 19. Got together with him at 19, married at 21, ended up leaving him 23. I think I had 23, I believe. That was a big chunk of my 20s. And then now I'm 26 and I spent the rest of that fixing it up. you know, like fixing whatever he damaged. So no, I didn't feel like I was trying to figure out my 20s. I was like, okay, how do I get by the next day?
Yeah. Or even like, did you feel like, how did you get were you trying to get your 20s back in a way too? Because not gonna lie, at least, you know, I'm from the Bay Area also for background. Definitely grew up in a very privileged area. Everyone, you know, was in the same phase of life at the same time. I feel like everyone was kind of on the same page up until I graduated college, and then, you know, then everyone does things differently.
Yeah.
But yeah, do you feel like you're kind of even like wanting to go a little bit backwards sometimes? Like, oh, like I want to live my 20s a little bit?
So I feel like, here's the thing. I feel like the concept of 20s is like so different for everybody, but I feel like, you know, I've never really been the person that parties and drinks and goes out. Like, I want to be in my bed maybe 10, you know, like watching something in the TV. Like, I don't want to I don't enjoy really being out. And I feel like I do have to make such an effort to go out at night. So in that regard, no. And if we're talking about like, oh, my 20s, like I want to be a hoe. I had my hoe face before my ex. It maybe was 3 months long before I met him. Yeah. But I lived it. So then I'm like, I mean, I just feel like I didn't get to not be worried about things. And I can do it now. Like, I feel like that now that's my constant state. I'm always like, oh, what am I doing? And this is how it's going on. And like, so no, I don't feel like I'm trying to gain them back. I feel like now I'm just trying to live whatever stage I'm in so that I don't regret it later. Totally. You know, because I'm like, do I look back at my 21-year-old and say, maybe you shouldn't have been married? Yeah, but can I change it? No. So now I'm just living the best I can at right now.
I think it's also really interesting too, because when we have conversations like this about our 20s, there is that kind of pressure of like, oh, like your 20s are the best years of your life. And then you see people like in their 30s and 40s, like, no, like your 40s are your best time in your life. And my sister's 30, my brother's about to be 28. And like having older siblings, I'm like, oh my God, I'm not scared of getting older. Like, I cannot wait to be 30. Like, that sounds so much fun. And it also like makes me kind of sad sometimes when older, like women specifically, are like just like mourning what they like looked like in their 20s, like mourning like what their life looked like. I'm like, no, like when I'm 47, I want to be obsessed with being 47. Or when I'm in my 30s, like I want to be like leaning in and not being like wishing I was somewhere else. Kind of thing.
Okay, so I feel like a big part of our 20s is leaving high school, going into college, and just starting adulthood. Because believe it or not, I feel like your adulthood, at least for me, it started at 19, 20 years old. Yeah. And although it might be different, I mean, did you, because you went to LA for college and your family was in Sacramento, right?
No, they were in San Jose at the time.
San Jose. Yeah. Okay, I always mix them up. Yeah. Like, I feel like they're fully opposite, but I always mix them up. Did you feel like, oh, I'm an adult now, like I'm moved out, like I have to do my own laundry? Like, how was that transition for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that at that point in my life, I realized change was really hard for me. And I think change is probably hard for everybody. I definitely wish that I got into therapy when I went to college. I think that something I do now, anytime I have a lot of change in my life, I'm like, okay, let's just like get into therapy, even if it's literally for 2 months. Might as well have a third party that you can talk to. I think that my transition to college was definitely just interesting. I think anytime you have like an expectation of something and it's anything different, you're like, you kind of freak out a little bit. Luckily, so my brother was actually a senior at LMU when I was a freshman, or he was a junior when I was a freshman. So that definitely like helped. And my sister also went to my same college. So I was definitely like the baby O'Hara at LMU, which was, I honestly loved. Like I was all over it.
I basically did just like intensive research about Peyton. I was like, did I stalk you? Absolutely. I stalked like your best friends, your family, everybody. And Miss Peyton here graduated magna cum laude, summa cum laude. What did you graduate?
I think summa.
What do you mean you think? This is such a big deal.
Is it?
Yeah.
I think it was magna cum laude.
Okay, so do you feel like, I mean, I didn't go to college, not yet. I will at some point. Do you feel like this was a standard that you set for yourself? Was it just like grades? Were you just always like brilliant, smart, and you're like, I'm a genius. What can I say?
Yeah, I mean, I think that definitely, I'll preface, being a communications major allowed me to thrive a lot more. I grew up with ADHD. I mentioned earlier that I, was on Concerta for a really long time. And I think that was really interesting because within that experience of, am I smart or am I not smart? Because I was always told like, oh, like you need extra help. You need more tutors. And then, so I got really, when people tell you things about yourself,
you believe it.
Especially at a young age. Yeah. Like, okay, I do need.
This is what it is.
When you're told from a young age that you need extra help and you need more tutors, you're on that same major? Okay, I guess I do. And so I think it was really interesting for me then during 2020, it allowed me to then to get off the medication because I was home doing no school. I had literally no excuse. I'm like, okay, I have to get off of this. If anyone who's ever taken it, it's really dependent. Like you become very dependent on it. And I think it kind of caused a little bit of an identity crisis with myself because I was like, can I do anything without this medication? Because I was on it from like ages 12 to 20.
God,
you know,
that's a long time.
That's a long time during your like really the influential years of
when you're getting to know yourself,
and education and everything. So I think that was really interesting. And then when I went back to school, I really struggled with getting back to my new normal. And I definitely went through the identity crisis in the sense of, am I smart without this? Like, can I get a job without this? And I think that was something that actually then in turn definitely just put a chip on my shoulder where I'm like, I have to try extra hard. I was communication, so I think I was able to lean into my strengths more in terms of like writing and reading a lot more. But at the same time, that's when I feel like I started getting really more serious about my career, where I was like, maybe school just isn't my thing, but I think that like everything beyond this will be. I just like had this like inkling. I was like, whatever I'll do after college, I'll thrive at because I'll be able to do whatever I want to do. This was like also during COVID time. So anything like marketing or creative sounded also just not safe or not stable because everyone around me was like getting laid off. Everyone around me was like trying to get jobs and that like wasn't. So I went into the wonderful field of insurance and I'm still doing it now, and I think it's a great 9 to 5 to have. My junior year, summer going to senior year, I then got my license my senior year because I really wanted to set myself up career-wise. And I think in the topic of career too, what really helped me kind of be a high-achieving person is I love networking, and something my dad told me growing up is always be networking. Like even I was in middle school, he's like, the person sitting next to you could be your boss one day. Like,
no, I stand by that. My mom was like the exact same way, and like I know she like did an effort to like put me in a little bit of like a more expensive school that like she could have or like she probably should have.
Yeah.
Because she's like, oh, these are probably going to be better connections than whatever else, and that type of mindset I've always had it. Yeah, because same idea. Like you never know, and I've also believed hardcore like. You have to be nice to absolutely everybody because one, don't be a dick, but like you never know who is who.
100%.
And you never know who is going to be who in your life.
Yeah.
Like who's going to play a part in your life.
My dad would honestly say the same things. Like the people who are really intelligent and who like those are the really high achieving, brilliant people. And you need to surround yourself by those people.
Yeah. And I feel like even if you're not just like book smart, having this ability to like network, be nice to people. And I've mentioned this in a couple episodes. Like I got my current job because of a friend. Would a friend have recommended me to a job if I was an asshole? No, absolutely 100%. Not. Like I feel like if anything, people will go out of their way to say no, do not hire this person, she is rude. So no, I agree 100%.
Yeah. And I think too, growing up in the Silicon Valley, I always was, I think, preached that was your network is your net worth. And something I would do from the time I was like a junior in college even to now is I have a running list of it's like 15 to 20 people in my life who they might even be not in my industry, but I really look up to what they do. And I check in with them once a quarter. And even if they do not care, or they have no reason to know what I'm up to, I literally will send them an email like, hey, especially like fourth quarter time, like during Christmas, hey, like holidays coming around, like hope you're doing really well. Just want to check in. I'm doing XYZ. What are you up to? Hope all is, amazing for you. And I think it just allows so many doors in your life to stay open should you want it. And it's really cool because then when you go to reach out to people, it's not the last time they heard from you was, hey, you were already asking for something. It's like, Peyton is so nice. She was just checking in. And I definitely recommend that to people who are in their 20s because people always want to help people who are young too.
And this is something so valuable to learn and start practicing when you're young. Because I feel like these connections and like these people that you meet in your 20s, late teens, maybe they're not going to stay in your life realistically, but like 20s, 30s, they're going to stay with you for a while. Like even if you're not like best friends with everyone you meet, if you're just like making a connection and trying really hard to keep it up, it's going to open doors. It's going to give you opportunities. Like Peyton, as I said, has Creators Club, and like maybe this is a nice segue for you to talk about it. And I met Gogo through Peyton, through Creators Club. Gogo is a podcast producer. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, she's taught me so much. Like I've seen like different things through her eyes that I wouldn't have if I didn't just try to make a connection, you know? So do you want to tell us about Creators Club?
Totally. And even on that same note, I think that it's always so good too to ask for help and ask for advice from people. I think it's always like, even on the way here, I was calling one of my friends, Grace, who went on a podcast recently. I'm like, hey girl, can we just like talk about your experience doing it? Like, I think it's also just so important to like utilize. That's just another example of utilizing your network. But yeah, so I basically started a content creator social network. Sounds pretty a little bit cooler than it is, but
no, it is pretty cool. It is pretty cool, and I'm a part of it. I'm an OG. I was there before that first official meetup, so I just
you were. That's literally how we met. And I started it in December with one of my other friends, Grace, and I was basically doing marketing on the side for a little cute holiday pop-up bar in North Beach, San Francisco. Also, for preface, as a content creator myself, I would force myself to go to multiple places in San Francisco, like think restaurants, tour companies, literally anything. And I force myself to go introduce myself to the owner. Hi, my name is Peyton. I'm a San Francisco content creator. I'd love to work with you. Anyway, so I did that. He was like, yeah, you can totally come in, get a free dinner, get some content, but I'm really looking for someone to take over my socials or for the holidays. And I'm like, I haven't done that since college, but sure. And then I basically convinced him to also hire Grace. And then we wanted to throw an event, but then we were like, why don't we just only invite local SF content creators? It'd be a fun way to get people together. I think the San Francisco market is just so unique, where it's not like LA or New York. I think everyone's just on their own island a little bit, which is so funny. And since then, we host monthly events now, and it was so interesting. Like, so many girls at the event were like, oh my God, how long have you been doing this? You know, when's the next one? We're like, oh my God, like, we literally just
like, do we have a next one?
We're like, so we should have a next one. And it's been honestly like so much fun. And I think it's allowed so many new people to make new friends. And I'm also not trying to put even too much pressure on it in the sense of what I want it to become. I think it's going to evolve how it's meant to evolve. But it's been so much fun allowing even just myself to thrive in a new way creatively. And I think it even goes back to what I was sharing about myself earlier about growing up with ADHD. It was always something that I was told was a negative thing, and it's so funny now that I'm in my post-grad life, like being at 25, I'm like, wait, it's kind of my superpower, because I think it allows me to kind of like be everywhere at once, work on many different projects at once. Like, I have another full-time job, and it's really empowering to also be able to bring people together and meet people like you. Like, I was listening to Inglorious podcast a lot the past couple weeks,
and she loved it. She loved it.
Literally obsessed. Just in preparation for today, and it made me feel so honored that like I got put in your circle, because all of your podcasts are all about empowerment, and it's the type of people I want to surround myself by. So Creators Club has also just been something I've also become really proud of too. Yeah. And I think that also another great thing to think about when you're going through your 20s is you should be leaning into what you're naturally good at. Whether that's like something like really, small, like, oh, like you're like really good at soccer, like go like join like your soccer league, or go become like a coach somewhere. Or if you're like, honestly, like the way I kind of also thought about Creators Club was I really wanted to have a project with myself. And going into 2024, that was on my vision board. I was like, I want to have a project with myself. I think I was feeling also like a little bit just unfulfilled, to be honest. And I was like, okay, well, I love talking about spirituality and like being present. So I wanted to start a children's spirituality book. Okay. And then I really got into it. But then I realized I don't know much about kids. And so I'm tabling that. So we're going to circle back to that maybe in like, I don't know, 5 to 10 years. And then from there, I was like, what if I do a card game? And it was really expensive. And then I was like, I love talking to people. And I also like, me and my best friends, like, I loved making like music videos when we were younger on like iTunes. So I've always like also loved like short form video like content. And that was kind of even how I got into social media too. And I think that by kind of listening to my intuition of like, what am I kind of good at? I think it's also like has allowed me like thrive a lot more.
Yeah. And I feel like this does have to be said when you're in your 20s, because I feel like when you're in your 20s, it's not like you're struggling financially, but you're not where you want to be most times, totally. Right? And I feel like a lot of us, including me, get stuck into these 9 to 5 just because it pays the bills and like amazing to have money. Who doesn't want to have money? But like, is it really fulfilling you? Or do you just feel like you're trapped into like, I wake up, I go to work, I come home and I sleep to wake up and go to work. And I feel like, Peyton said that Creators Club was her goal, like within herself. And I think I've mentioned in a couple episodes where it's like, have something to look forward to, regardless of what it is, because it might be different. Like, listen, what might be important to you might be just cooking a meal every night, and because you really enjoy cooking, and making yourself dinners, like something you look forward to. Like right now, I'm training for a half marathon that Peyton's also running.
Nervous.
It's a little struggle. I actually don't know if I'm gonna finish it, but we'll see. I mean, I am training for it, and I feel like having this goal within you of, okay, I am setting this line of, I'm doing this for me, not for anybody else, because I want to. It's going to take you out of just the routine and the
mundane.
Yeah, just the living life, and that's it. Like, it's going to make you have a little more spark for life. Do something that you like. Do something that you're good at. Like this podcast. Have I made a single dime from this podcast? Absolutely not.
Not yet.
No, not yet. No. But do I care? No, because something that I've been told my entire life is that I talk too much, and I was like, then let's talk too much.
Let's lean in.
Let's talk too fucking much.
Totally. And I think too, and it's always important. I saw somewhere like, always remember your why. I'm like, I don't know my why. And I think that's something that I've also been like slightly thinking about more, is like, okay, like what is like my kind of like purpose? And I think it's a really daunting question, especially to ask someone in their 20s. Like, how are we supposed to know? So I think even just like when there's little things that just feel good to you, like lean in, like literally, why not? And even too, like a great example of that is one of my best performing videos on Instagram is for Alimento, one of my favorite sandwich shops in San Francisco. I'm really good friends with the owner. Since I moved to San Francisco, I've been going there, and they've not once given me anything like free or like even asked me to make a video. I literally just love that place so much. And they're just like a really wonderful like local SF business, and he owns a couple other local places. And like that just like made me like so happy. I'm like, oh my God, like he was like, Peyton, like we have the TikTokers coming in. I'm like, oh no way. And it just like that like really warmed my heart. I'm like, cool. Like and it kind of also gave me a little bit more of like, I think sometimes too, when you look at social media and people who like do social media, like, oh, that's so shallow. Like, oh, like, you're taking videos of yourself going like during your workouts, or you're taking video of yourselves walking, and it just like looks dumb. And like, I get it. It does, from a point it does. Yeah. But I think too, it's been also fun even navigating that new part of myself, like within social media, and finding more ways to like give back to even my local community has like also just like really sparked joy too.
So tell me about your social media, because you started posting like seriously maybe like 6 months ago, maybe.
Yeah, honestly, it's coming up on a year, which is kind of nuts.
Okay. Yeah, I know.
When I started Creators Club, it was like 6 months prior. I was like, I'm just gonna go for this.
Yeah, I feel like honestly, time is going by this year so quick. I'm like, why is it
I know.
June? What do you mean it's June?
Yeah.
No. So social media, what made you spark it? Because I talked to some sources and I asked something that you are really proud of, but maybe people don't know about you. And my sources told me that you are really proud of not caring anymore what people have to say, and generally just going full-blown social media, regardless of what are people gonna think. And that's something that you're not telling people, but you're proud of. So tell me about that transition. Like, what made you say, okay, I'm doing it, or like, am I uncomfy? Tell me about it.
Oh my gosh, no, that is such a good question. And I think it's been a very fun kind of social experiment in that way, of starting social media and like doing something that a lot of people hold a lot of judgment over. I kind of just went into it like, okay, I know this is cringe. I know this makes me look really dumb to especially the people you kind of like grow up with, or people. I saw a TikTok that really helps me with this, where when you meet someone new, you, whether that's online or in person, you subconsciously put them in a box. Mm-hmm. When I met you, I'm like, okay, you're Inglory, you're from Venezuela, you do social media. That's what you know about me. Yeah. Versus like someone who you grew up with, maybe when they saw you online, they're like, oh my God, what is she doing? Like, who does she think she is?
Yeah.
Versus on me, I'm like,
we already know me like that. Yeah.
Like, and I think that's something too, where when you stray from the box that other people put you in, you make them feel a little bit uncomfortable, and that can cause people to like feel judgment towards you. And I think that's what people are really afraid of. But then when you reframe that of like, oh, like I'm not doing anything wrong, and people just can choose to judge me because I'm in a different box than they're used to,
and that what makes them feel comfortable.
And what makes people feel comfortable and what people think of me is also just none of my business. I think that's something that's really helped. And I think it's also incredibly liberating beyond just the idea of social media. Like, no, you should like do whatever you want. And especially if you're like me and you're a people pleaser, like I am a chronic people pleaser. I'm still working on that. But realizing you're also not going to be everyone's cup of tea. Like not everyone's going to like you. And that's been something that has been its own journey of like, oh, like not everyone's going to like me. That's okay. And also on the topic of social media, even like I had one video kind of go viral maybe like 2 months after I started doing social media, the trolls. I was like, oh my God, like
what is this?
Foreign
territory.
Yeah, that was crazy for me. I'm like, oh, people coming after my voice. Oh my God, so many people were like, the influencer voice. I'm like, oh, sounds like that's just my voice. Oh my God, no, I'm sorry. I'm just from California. I think that's also been like, that's when it reminds me like, oh, this is such a weird social experiment of like putting yourself on the internet. What about you? Like, what was your experience kind of within like?
Here's the thing. I always wanted it. I remember like 2012, I was watching just American YouTubers. Like, did you ever watch like Alicia Marie?
Yes.
And like the Back to School. Like,
yeah.
I was just watching that. Like, that was my going home watching these things. Okay. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. And it was like the oversaturated like era of YouTube. Because of course, like I don't think Instagram was like a thing for social media. It was just YouTube. And I was like, I love this. I want to do this. And then I come here and I'm like, okay. I think I was always waiting for like I have to have the right camera and I have to have the perfect background and like this and this and this. And one day I said, I don't care. I'm starting like regardless. And here's the kicker. I started making videos in Spanish, but I started making kind of like little skits and they were maybe like a minute long. But like in 2019, a minute long was like forever long because videos were like 15 seconds, you know?
No, it's so true.
And people started hating so hardcore. And I had videos blow up. I'm talking like 100,000, 200,000. Which for somebody that's never posted anything, that's a lot of views.
Yeah, totally.
And people were hating me so hard and I had such a hard time. Now I don't care. Now I'm like, hate whatever you want. Sometimes I'll have videos. I know I have an accent for sure, but I'll say something purposely wrong to get the hate because it's views. I don't care.
Rage bait.
Yeah.
I just learned about rage bait recently.
I will enrage people. I do not care. Like, oh, it's Jackamoose. Jackamoose. I'll say whatever the fuck it is, like opposite as to what it is. Yeah. But I think I just started posting because I was like, oh, this is my dream. Like I've always wanted to do it. So like I'm going to do it. Here's the thing. I started getting so much hate in Spanish that I did feel like doing it in English was a safe space. I was like, these people in English don't know me.
Interesting.
Like they haven't put me in a box. They have no idea who I am. What do I care? Like I have nothing to lose. Maybe if I had, mind you, I do use the Instagram that I opened in like 2011. So like whatever high school friends, everybody, they're there. Do I care? Absolutely not.
Yeah,
because you best believe when I'm doing a little Prada unboxing, what are you gonna say? What do you have to say?
Here's your Prada box.
Oh yeah. I stray from your path. I do not care because here's the thing. I was gonna be a doctor. Like I got into med school back home. The girl that you thought was going to be a doctor is posting little get ready with me.
Yeah.
Big change, but I generally never care. Like I cannot say. Once did I ever feel uncomfortable? I was like, oh, what are the people that know me gonna say? I was like, never.
Yeah, but I think that's kind of the liberating part is like if you have the courage to do whatever you want, like that's so inspiring to like anybody. I think that's also just very inspiring because you also have to look at it as you're doing a disservice to yourself by not pursuing anything that sounds cool to you. It's embarrassing for the other people to not pursue what they want to pursue. Funny side note story, I was at Coachella this past year and I was at a smoothie shop in Palm Springs and other than Addison Rae was next to me. And
no way.
I'm standing in line. I'm someone, okay, I love talking to famous people. Like,
I cannot. That would be
oh my God, I just become best friends with them. It's so fun. I'm standing in line. She's waiting for her smoothie. We're standing next to each other for like 5 minutes. And I'm like not going to say something. So I'm like, I'm not going to bother her. And I'm like, should I? And I'm like, I should. And she was with her 2 of her friends and they're all waiting for their smoothies. And I just kind of turned to them. I was like, oh, like, I love your jacket to her friend.
Okay.
You know, get my in with a friend.
Yeah. Be coy about it.
And they all look at me, and then I was just like, oh, like, hey, ladies. I was like, oh, like, how's, and she's like, oh, thank you so much. Like, I was like, yeah, like, how's your guys' weekend been? Like, oh my God. And we're talking about how hot it was. And then the 2 friends kind of walk away, and it's just me and Addison. So sweet, by the way. She's tiny. Like, I think I was like triple her size.
No way.
And I was like, this is really random. Basically, I was like, oh, I started doing content like June of last year. During that time, a video of you came across my For You page of you, and I was like, I think it was from a long time ago, like it was you on stage and you basically were saying how people were obviously making fun of you for doing dancing videos, and you literally were just saying, if people want to care, like that's fine, like it's embarrassing for you to care so much. And she was like, oh my God, that's so funny. She's like, that's something I still have to tell myself like all the time now, especially with all like the change I've been doing. And I'm like, well, you're popping off, queen. And I was like, okay, well, have a great rest of your weekend. And
Did you see her in Coachella?
No, I went weekend one. She was weekend two. And then I literally walked away and I was like shaking. And I'm like, oh my God. I was like, that was so amazing. But it was so funny. I was like, why don't I just like talk to her about it? Because I just was thinking about it.
That's insane. I feel like, girl, I was actually talking with a girlfriend about this recently. And mind you, I feel like my personality has always been the same. Like, I am outgoing, but I'm not an extrovert. Like, going up to somebody and speaking to them, God kill me. Like, I want the air to like swallow me. And like, if I'm with somebody, if I had been with you and you had done that, I would have stayed in that line. I was like, I do not know her.
I don't know her.
Not my problem. Goodbye.
I'm dead. That is so funny.
But yeah, I feel like, and this goes along with just making the connections and stuff. You just gotta go and do it. And
yeah. I also think too that if you're struggling to find something that you're passionate about outside of like maybe your job, or like you're trying to find something that just something else, but you're not sure what are things that you kind of are jealous of other people for?
Oh, I never seen it like that.
Because when you're kind of jealous of someone and for getting an accomplishment, for doing something cool, like you have to have the abundance mindset. Like if they can do it, you can do it too. Or like if just because someone's accomplishing something, like that means like you think that's cool, you think that's attractive. And I think that can be, not that I was like jealous of people who were doing social media, but like I think I always just like admired people who did it. And I think that it's important to kind of like change that reframe of like, oh, if you think something, if you're kind of jealous, like that means you think it's cool. I also think that there's something I'm actually really wanting to do right now is even find a mentor within like the social media space. I think that especially when you're young, like it's so good to have mentors. I have like 5 or 6 mentors in very different areas of your life. Because again, like, why reinvent the wheel? That's my thing. I'm like, I am an ask for help queen.
Okay, I love that. Yeah. I feel like I cannot. I feel like for me to ask for help, and I'm working on it because I do deeply believe that closed mouths don't get fed.
Yeah.
Like if you don't ask for it, it's not going to happen. But I feel like the mentor thing is such an American concept. And I think one thing we really have to touch on, because it changes a lot during your 20s, during your 30s, like it's always changing and evolving, is friendship. So how are we, and I did a full episode, literally, I don't know if you heard of it, like full episode talking about my biggest friendship breakup to this day. Like I thought these girls were going to be my bridesmaids, okay? So like when that friendship broke up, I was like, this is hurting more than my fucking divorce. Like, what do you mean? So how are we navigating friendship breakups in our 20s? How are we surviving it?
I think that it's really important to meet people where they're at in terms of friendship and not to put too much pressure on friendships. Yeah, something that my sister told me a long time ago about friendship that really helped me. Again, I love being the youngest. Why reinvent the wheel here? So that you're not putting like too much pressure on one person or like 2 people just to be,
to carry your entire mental health.
Yeah. And like I feel like I have some friends that like I love going to to talk about like social media with. I have friends where like we love to go on walks together. I have other friends where like we're going out to dinner together. I have friends where like I'll be calling them if I'm having a really hard day, like I know I can call them. And then I have other friends where like honestly when we're chatting, we're more just catching up, and that's amazing. And I think that it's also just to what I said earlier, just like not putting too much pressure on people. I think that's something that just helped me navigate friendships. I don't know if that's like a good answer, but I think that it's at least helped me remind myself that also friendships, they never end, they only evolve. And I think that it's okay to not be close with people at one point, but then who knows, like maybe your paths cross again in the future. And I think that's kind of beautiful for like friendship to ebb and flow, especially like when you move and everything. Like it's inevitable kind of gonna change in that way.
Do you have any advice on making new friends? I feel like this is something that I've struggled with, just like, and I'm getting better at it, but maybe it's just a cultural thing, maybe where I'm from, how Americans are, just like meeting new people, connecting with them. How are you? And I know you have Creators Club, which is like, you know, a huge deal, but maybe those are just your social media girlies. Like they're not the girls that you're crying when you're crying, you know? So how are you? Because you moved from San Jose to LA and then to San Francisco. How did you say, okay, this is how I'm starting to connect with people?
I think the best way to make friends is to meet people that also like have similar interests to you. And I think a great example of that is especially if you're a big Pilates girl, like, oh my God, you're sitting on those Pilates beds. Everyone's like, you should be 10 minutes early. I always chat with the girl next to me. Like, I don't know. I'm always like, oh, I like your set. Or like, I think that it's a really easy way to make new friends, especially when you're new to a place. It's not like you're definitely going to be making new friends when you're out at the bars or when you're like drunk in the bathroom. Like, that's probably not where you're going to be meeting quality friendships. I mean, who knows? If you have,
maybe
that's
you
amazing.
are.
Maybe you are, and go for it. Like, I love that for you.
Good for you.
But I think sometimes, like, for actual
deep connections that are going to be long.
I also love going for walks with people. I think that it's such an easy way to, like, low pressure. Like, it's not like you need to do a whole dinner together. You need to go get, like, you know, coffee. Like, oh, like, let's just, like, go for a walk.
Because sometimes, I don't know why, and I feel like I was going crazy. I was like, I actually am not going to tell anybody about this, but I feel like even sometimes getting coffee with somebody feels like pressure. It feels like, okay, it feels like slowly like a meeting. Like, do we have something? Yeah, like, what are we really talking about? Maybe I'm generally just doing my head about anything. Like, I'm always overthinking everything. But yeah, dinner feels like a long period of time. Like, fuck, what if we run out of things to talk about? I don't know. I'm always like overthinking everything. But yeah, a walk feels so doable.
I also went to an all-girl high school, and I think it really allowed me to, my sister always says this, the reason me and her, we were in the same like sorority too in college, and she was like, no, the girls that went to all girl schools are so good at flirting with other girls and like know how to make girlfriends like so easily, because that's all we did from the ages of 14 to 18, which is so funny.
I can see that because you're literally so good. Like, immediately I feel like I connected with Peyton like right away. So I can see that. I cannot. Here's the thing, I was kind of like the popular kid throughout school, but I was in the same school since first grade till I graduated. Okay. So it was like the same people and whatever else. But I was kind of the popular kid. I was in sports. I was pretty. I like did a pageant in school. Like, I was the popular kid. So I never really had to try that hard for people to like me. That's gonna sound so bad. Maybe we can leave that out.
I love it.
But I never really had to try hard. Like, people were there, and like I was friends with absolutely everybody. Like the nerds and the pretty and the jocks, whatever else. I was friends with everybody, but I never had to try. So I'm just like, now I'm like, I actually have to make an effort.
Yeah.
What do you mean I have to make an
to
effort?
that point, like, also don't be afraid to like text people like, hey, like, do you want, like, I think sometimes people also are afraid like make the first move. But like, if you click with someone like in your Pilates class, I also like made like really good friends now with my my facial girl from Dermaplus.
Okay.
If you go there in San Francisco, I'm about to like set her up right now on a date. Like, we were just like chit chatting, and like I think it's also just like, to your point earlier, just be nice to everybody, and I think that also goes a long way. Like, I think there's also some personalities where they're not going to go up to you and say hi and introduce themselves, but if you walk up to them and you introduce yourself, they'll be like, oh my God, hi, like, it'd be so nice. And I think sometimes people take that as being standoffish, and I think that that's where a lot of times people miss maybe a friendship, because they think that they're like a mean person, and it's like, no, like, they're all just not the most bubbly person in the room, but like until you approach them. And
I feel like that's literally me. I have like, if you do not if somebody doesn't talk to me, I have the biggest RBF you can fucking fathom. Like, I'm just there like I know for a fact I don't look approachable unless I'm making an effort to look approachable. Like, I have to be a little like eyebrows raised, little smile, because if not, I'm just like dead. Like, I'm dead inside. But when like I really wouldn't go up to somebody and say hi, but if somebody does come up to me, I'm like, you best believe we're best friends. Like, that's it. Like, and yeah, maybe I've been trying to make that effort of like texting people like, let's do this, let's do that. Like with Peyton, like, she made the first move of like, you should have me on your podcast. And then like a month later, I said, do you actually want to come? And I would have never gone back to her and said, come. You know, like, no, I would have sip it. So yeah, and I think agreeing with Peyton, like, friendships do change, but also, if you have to like step away from a friendship, don't feel bad about it. Like, it's not wrong. And yeah, listen, maybe it's like a 10-year friendship. Like, of course, don't throw it away just because you're like in different stages of your life. But you also shouldn't feel all this guilt of, I have to stay in this friendship because it's been so long. If you're not in the same place, if you're not the same people anymore, like, why would you stay? Like, these girls that I'm telling you I lost were very different to me. And I think I just had them when at a time that I was very alone. Like, I was with my ex, like, he was very controlling, like, he wouldn't really just like let me have friends. They lived here, so we had like the keys to each other's apartments. Okay, like, it felt like a sorority because we were like going up and down. But we were so different. Like, they loved drinking, they loved smoking, so I was always like, this is not my vibe. Like,
you weren't relating anymore.
No, and I was just like, what am I doing here? Like, these girls want to black out every weekend. Like, this is not my vibe. So I was always there babysitting, like grown-up sitting, you know, like, I was the one driving everybody, and I was like, listen, when everybody's like blackout drunk and you're sober, it's not fun. Because I also like don't care, like, if people are having drinks, like, it's fun, they're laughing, I'm laughing, I know how to have a good time being sober. But if I have to tell you, where are your shoes, where's your bag, let's go, every time, every weekend, it's so much. And I felt a lot of guilt of, I need to step out of this friendship because it's not really doing any good for me. But now I look back and I'm like, but I don't need this. I don't want this. So
I think that's also to my point of like the importance of meeting people where they're at. Like I think that's my least favorite type of friend is like when you the friend who like does want to go out and the one friend who doesn't want to go out, like both also like judging each other. Like no, like if your friend wants to stay in, like let her stay in. And like if you have a friend who's like, I want to go to bus stop and close it down, like girl, off. Go. Like I just meet people where they're at. Like
yeah. And it's fine either way. Like listen, for Grace's birthday, I think we went to a bus stop.
Yes.
And you know, I was there for like maybe like 30-45 minutes, just like because we like they pre-gamed at Grace's party at Grace's house. We sing happy birthday there. What a vibe. At bus stop, I was there for like 45 minutes and I was like, I'm done. It's like a huge crowd. Everyone's drunk. I don't want to be here, but I'm here for you. I had a good time. Goodbye.
Yeah.
So you don't just have to be in places and be with people just because you're like afraid of being alone, question mark?
Yeah, because also a real friend will want you to go home when you want to go home.
And be comfortable.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't want somebody to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think, you know, when I felt like my life was generally falling apart, when my friendship was falling apart, because at the same time I was going through a breakup, divorce, a lot of everything going on. How are we coping during our 20s? Because I feel like maybe when you're 30 and when you're in your late 20s, you have a lot more tools to cope with things, right? Like now, I would look at that situation and be like, I'm fine. Like I'm just going to go work out, going to walk. I'm fine. Like it wouldn't hurt me as much.
Yeah.
But at the time, I didn't really have any tools to, I'm not going to let this bring me down. And it can go to any extent. It can be you lost your job. You broke up with your boyfriend. How do we cope with things when we feel like life is falling apart?
Yeah. Why is my answer, I just called my sister? I'm literally like, Maddie, what do I do? Yeah, I mean, for me, I feel like when things are falling apart, I feel like I'm falling off a building. I feel like that's the best way I can describe it.
Yeah.
Where you're like, nothing's in my control right now. And I think to that point, you have to like surrender control. Like when things like feel like they're falling apart, like you have to remember to like, no, you're also like right where you need to be. And things aren't falling apart. Like you're actually, things are working in your favor right now without you knowing. And I think it's just all about like the reframe there.
Yeah, and no, I fully believe now, mind you, a couple years ago I didn't, but now...
I was going to say, easier said than done, but...
Yeah, but now I'm like, the universe is quite literally always working in my favor, and I might not feel it at the time, but it is. Like, listen, if... Back to my divorce, because goddamn. So if I hadn't been with my ex for the time that I was, and I was, you know, in my early 20s, I wouldn't know now what I'm looking for, what my boundaries are, what I wouldn't really be willing to accept. Like, I wouldn't know myself to the extent that I know if he hadn't been in my life. Not to say that I wanted him in my life. Goddamn, he messed me up. If he hadn't been in my life, I wouldn't know all of these things. And that was the universe making me know myself, making me push myself out of my comfort zone. Like, all of these things that at the time felt like quite literally I was falling off a building, but I was like, okay, what's going to be my parachute? Like, what's going to catch me, right? Yeah. And to me, it was my mom. Like, my mom is like probably what your sister is to you. Like, she's my best friend, and she definitely always has good advice. But also, sometimes you just need people to listen. Like, you don't want advice. You don't want, here's how you can figure it out. I don't want that. Like, I just want to vent. I just want, you know, to talk. And I think having a good support system is so important. Call it friends, call it family, call it a therapist, whatever it is. I also feel like there's a lot of guilt within people of like, I don't have a friend to go talk to because I don't want to burden them with my, you know, sorrows. Who am I speaking to? A therapist. They're paid to listen to you. Yeah. Like, whoever it is, just vent.
I also think too that having that same boundary, that like when you do want to go talk to a friend, like I also have seen where it's like also good to be like, hey, I'm going through some things, like, are you in a place where can I come just like vent to you for 30 minutes?
Yeah.
Like, I think sometimes there's also the friends who like just dump everything and you're like, oh, whoa, like I'm also kind of like going through it today. And I think it's like also good in the sense of like friendship in a way too, of like, hey, like, are you okay? Like, so sorry to dump, can I just dump on you right now? Or like, hey, like, if you're on the other end, hey, are you looking just for someone to listen, or do you actually want advice? Because also sometimes like talking to me about what they're going through, and I'm like trying to come up with advice, and I'm like, I don't even know if they want my advice. And I think that it goes for like all relationships, is like even just like doing like a relationship check-in. Like actually something that my brother taught me about relationships too, of like the sense of relationship check-ins, and being like, because sometimes it's not always easy to have like the time, or like know when it's like a good time to like have maybe a more serious conversation, or like, hey, like you did something I kind of want to talk about, like, and having kind of like, okay, on Sundays or on, you know, once a month, like, hey, let's have a little check-in. Like, is there anything that like has been on your mind recently? Is there anything that you know, I always like even asking, I'll ask Dante, I'm like what's something I've done recently that's like made you feel special? Because also like I think men too, like we just like, we can't read each other's minds, you know, and I think it's so important, like whether it's friendships or relationships, be like to have just kind of like that safe space. And I also think it then shows if it's a good relationship or friendship if you're able to have that.
Yeah, that trust in it.
Yeah.
Okay, and because I am trying to wrap things up because talking to you is literally lovely and I feel like we're never going to shut up. I just want to talk about like some things that maybe we're still working on and what is actually helping us get through those things, like mantras, just like things that you do, like working out, going on walks, like what is actually helping you stay center and getting through this stretch of our 20s.
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. I think that probably two things. One, it's gonna sound so woo-woo, but like you have to surrender to the flow of the universe and actually remember you're right where you need to be. So when you're freaking out about a situation or like where you're at in life, like don't, because especially if it's not in your control in that moment, there's nothing you can actually actively change that moment. You're wasting your own energy. So I think like that's just been really important to me. That's really just helped me kind of navigate my 20s so far. And then second too, just like your mind is your home. It's literally up to you how enjoyable you want your life to be. I know that's like a privileged statement to say, but in a sense, but I do think that if you're waking up every morning, you're like, today's gonna be the best day. Like sometimes if I wake up and I'm like exhausted and I don't want to like start the day, I literally just actively tell myself like, today's gonna be the best day ever. Today's gonna be the best day ever. Today's gonna be the best day ever. Because like if you have to treat your mind like a child and like trick your mind and be like, no, like today is gonna be a great day. And I think that people kind of underestimate the power of like your words and how you do just really manifest what's happening.
Yeah, and I feel like I've seen that your brain doesn't know the difference between the reality and what you're telling it.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're actually telling it, I'm tired, I don't want to go to work, I can't do this, I'm like, this is so annoying, of course you're going to feel that way because you're telling your brain that it is that way. And I literally mentioned this in every single episode. We all need a little brain rebrand that can happen at any point. And what she said, like, it comes from a privileged place. I don't think so. Like, I think if you're not liking the way your life is going, change it. Okay. And it can be to any extent. If you don't like that you are, I don't know, waking up too late every morning, try to wake up early, try to go to bed early. Of course, you're going to have to make changes, but just rebrand your life. Like, if you're not liking where it's at, redo it. You're in control of it. Like, who else is gonna do it?
Yeah, I think too, even like you can take make those changes and also just smaller actions. Like I feel like I also like love Mel Robbins, and she's so amazing. She talks a lot about how like the big changes are made in like the small mundane days. Like it's what you're doing when no one's watching. You literally have to show up for yourself and make those changes for yourself because no one's gonna do it for you. And I think that's sometimes an interesting like pill to swallow.
Yeah, but honestly, I think that's also been helping me get through life in general, 20s, teens, whatever it is, understanding that like you'll see it, I'll show you when you leave, but like I have a full like vision board by the entrance of my home because I do believe in vision boards and like actually visualizing what you want and like generally training your brain to, oh, this is my reality, this is what I'm used to. So I have it by my door, so every time I leave my home I'm like, there it is. I'm cooking, oh, there it is. I'm doing anything, there it is. But you actually have to make active decisions to do all of these things, even if you are letting the universe ebb and flow to work towards it. Like, listen, one of my goals for this year is to lose some weight, or like not necessarily like lose weight, but get fit. Okay, I want to be hot AF. Okay, I want to be teeny tiny skinny, big muscles everywhere. Like that's what I want. If I don't buy groceries that go according to that plan, am I going ever to get there? No. If I don't decide to go to the gym, am I ever going to get there? No. So yes, I'm letting the universe take me there, but I'm also trying to like take that path by myself. Okay, like you have to. It's a combination of both things.
Yeah.
So yeah, understanding that the universe is in fact working for you, but also making the choice to go that way.
Yeah.
Okay, and besties, I truly hope that this episode got to you, it helped you, or at least it entertained you, and like that you could get something from it. If you did connect with anything of what we said, please subscribe, please follow, and I'm going to let Peyton plug her socials and everything she's doing and just telling you where she's at and where she's gonna go so that you can follow her.
Yeah, so again, my name is Peyton O'Hara. My handle's at Peyton O'Hara 20, so PeytonOhara on Instagram and TikTok. And then also feel free to check out Creators Club SF on Instagram and TikTok as well. Yeah, I feel like the rest of the year and more to come is going to be lots of exploring more San Francisco and navigating more my 20s, navigating my life in sales. and all the things. So super excited. And Gloria, thank you so much again for having me today. This has been an absolute joy, and I feel like we just like started something here. Like
I feel like, dude, I feel like I know you're in like a whole different level now. And if somebody is a creator and they want to get onto Creators Club, what are the vibes? Because I mean, I wouldn't know because I got invited, so can relate. But how can somebody get in? Like, what are the vibes?
No, that's a really good question. So again, we host like monthly events. And if you're interested, we have a little form in our bio on Instagram, where you can just put all your info and then we can reach out to you.
Slay. And please do it. You're gonna love it. If you're generally trying to build community, just know new people, meet new people, and just see what's out there, push yourself. You're going to love it. And thank you so much, Peyton, for coming. I'll see you guys next week.